I had a thought-provoking conversation the other day with a scientist who has spun out a startup from his research. He spoke with me about some of the challenges that he faces when trying to communicate with stakeholders or potential stakeholders who don't share his depth of expertise. And one of the things he said is that other folks in the startup who come from more of a business background will say to him, "Now don't talk about the science." And his response, his question is, well, how can I not talk about the science? I try to keep it simple, I try to keep it high level, but at the end of the day, it's very complex. How can I not go into depth about the science? Well, as I reflected on this question, I thought that it's really a matter of where you put your focus. It's not so much about avoiding jargon, avoiding complexity, as it is about focusing on what matters to the audience. So I think if you face this kind of challenge, as many of us do, I think just changing your perspective from the negative to the positive can help. So instead of thinking, don't do this, don't use jargon, don't be overly complex, you can think, use language that my audience can relate to. So you can learn what terms your audience is familiar with, what metaphors or analogies they tend naturally to, and you can make a point to incorporate those into your presentation or your document or your message. By the same token, instead of saying, oh, don't go into too much detail, you can consciously shift your perspective to the positive and ask yourself, what are the key concepts, the foundational concepts that my audience needs to grasp in order to understand what we're about, appreciate it, and get excited about it? And then make it a point to incorporate those topics into your presentation or your message. The advantage of taking this positive approach is, first of all, I think when you approach things with a positive attitude, they're a lot easier. But also what you'll find is that when you think about what you're putting in to your messaging, then you will be forced to make choices about what to leave out. And by prioritizing what matters to your audience, you will instantly kind of weed out the chaff, the unnecessary detail that is so easy for you to get wrapped up in as an expert. So I found that conversation thought-provoking, and I hope that what I've shared with you sparks a few thoughts for you too.